Welcome to episode 2 of Mentality, the podcast where men learn how to build real strength mental, physical, financial, and relational. I'm your host, Alan.
And I'm your host, Kodi, also known as Kodi DYEL. And I guess today we're going to break down a couple topics here. Now, specifically, and if you guys are on social media or chronically online, you have heard this topic before, and it's about getting rich schemes, coaches coaching coaches, just anything in that realm. So I want to talk about it from someone who is working on a bodybuilding course and what I've seen behind the scenes, whether it's selling real estate courses, whether it's selling Amazon courses, it could be anything. People that are selling courses. So, Alan, do you want to start it off and then the topics? We'll kind of just dive back and forth into it.
Yeah, I'll be approaching this topic from a point of working in real business. I've done my career over 15 years working in tech and in real Fortune 500 companies. And as someone that has worked in those type of companies, it becomes easier to be able to see the difference between real companies, real business, and scams.
Yeah. So leading off to that, so I kind of want to give a quick background of what it is we're referring to, right? Because some people might not know what scams we're talking about, right? So getting into it, there's something that's going on, and you guys have seen it. The course sellers, specifically, it'll be people in like Miami in the penthouse. They'll be flexing the Lambos, the Ferraris, the Rolexes, the mansions. I can confirm, as someone who has a Lamborghini, someone who knows a lot of these influencers in real life, or I even know the ad agencies who work with these individuals, it's all fake. As you guys know, social media is fake in general. But what I mean by this is that they'll have a particular topic that they're relatively good at. I'm just going to use Amazon as a topic because that's probably one of the hottest topics in all of social media, and it's selling on Amazon. So they'll have this crazy lifestyle, whether it's the cars, the girls, the houses, whatever it is, and they'll be like, I did this, I bought all this because of this Amazon. And people are like, wow, like you bought this Ferrari, Porsche, whatever it is from Amazon. They're like, yeah, I did. Now, for the low price of $15,000, you can join my one-on-one program and I'll teach you how to do it. Now, what people don't know, and I've taken some of these courses, especially my friends gave it to me for free just to test it, it is not one-on-one. You're paying to have a pre-done course. You know, it's like how to find the product, how to do this, but they don't really teach you all the secret sauce, which might be finding the product, which might be running ads, all the things that you're going to need to do to be successful. They don't teach you that. So long story short, you're paying $10,000, you're getting ripped off because you're not getting the value of what you want. And because of how powerful AI is nowadays, they're writing this entire program in AI, just giving you that, and it's BS. So that's my rant about that. That's what I mean by it's fake. It's not worth the money. There's no value in it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to see really one of the key giveaways that a business is fake or shady or just doesn't hold up to what a traditional business is the difference between real business and performance-based illusion. A example of that is LinkedIn versus social media. Most real businesses are going to have LinkedIn accounts, right? They're going to have their employees on LinkedIn. They're going to be on Indeed, so you'll be able to go on there, see their post, see the executive board, who's the CEO, who's the CFO, who's the chief of staff, how many employees they really have, and you can go into this individual's profiles and see what their background is, right? So if you go into Tesla and you go look at the CEO, you see Elon Musk, you see his profile, you get to see, that he is SpaceX, Tesla, PayPal, and I formerly Twitter, now X, and then he also had a company named X that was bought out by PayPal. But my point is that you're able to see these companies, what they do, their employees, and the expertise and how real the resume of their employees are compared to companies that only advertise on social media. And when you see companies that only advertise on social media, it really makes you wonder a little bit of like, why don't you have a LinkedIn account, right? Why aren't your executive officers on there? Why aren't you openly putting their background on there? What companies have they worked for? What accomplishments do they have? What's their education? And that should be a red flag to you about a course or a company that might not be legitimate, right? If they're not on legitimate websites and they're hiding things from you, it makes you wonder for what reason. Also, another thing is that Fortune 500 CEOs, for the most part, don't sell courses. right? I've never seen Jeff Bezos sell a course on how to build the next Amazon. I've never seen Bill Gates sell a course on how to build the next Microsoft, and I never saw Steve Jobs sell a course on how to build the next Apple. So when you see a CEO that is selling a course on how to create a direct competitor to their business model, you should really think about why would it behoove them or benefit them in any way, shape, or form to create more competition for themselves.
Yeah, no. So I want to lead into that because again, I have friends who sell courses, and some of them are very successful. And I'm not saying successful is in there successfully ripping people off, like they're successful giving value because they've given me the course for free. And I was like, I don't know if I'd spend $5,000 in this, but I agree. If I actually knew how to flip houses, this would be a really good course. So I guess where I'm going with this is what Alan said. I don't think a Fortune 500 company would be even interested in doing something like that. Now, I do have one follow up question, Alan, I want to ask you, and this is something that just confuses me as to why people would fall for it. So, would you assume that age does play a role in terms of the person that's selling something? Do you feel like someone that claims to have made a, let's say, what do they say, $500,000 a month is not uncommon? They're like, I make $200,000 to $500,000 a month, but they're 20 to 21 years old. A lot of these course sellers are under 23, somewhere between 18 and 23. So, do you feel like that's the first immediate red flag? We're like, how much could you really know about owning a multi-million dollar business at 19 years old? If you understand what I'm trying to say with this question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important as people to operate from a general standpoint rather than the exception to the rule, right? Is there millionaires that are teenagers or in their early 20s? Absolutely, right?
Yep.
Do they exist? Yes, they do. Um, but the vast majority of people that are multimillionaires are actually don't become multimillionaires until they're in their late 40s, and we have the statistics to show that.
Yep.
So you should automatically be suspicious of someone that, well, I don't want to say automatically, but you should be on guard for anyone that is showing all these things and all this money they have at a young age, especially when they're working in a business that they can't really truly explain to you. And even with big businesses, it's often a scam. I'll give you an example. There's a large amount of the Fortune magazine has its 30 under 30, and it's a running joke that if you're listed on a 30 under 30, Fortune's 30 under 30, there's a high chance that you're running a scam and you're going to end up in jail. And that's happened quite a bit, right? They had the lady from Theranos that had the fake voice, would wear a black turtleneck, like Steve Jobs, and it turned out that she was running a scam, right? Then we had the gentleman from the crypto company, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was also doing shady business. And as you know, now he's in jail. So even with big businesses like that, and they're getting the backing of major companies and major banks, we've already seen that people that are making the 30 under 30 are a little suspicious. I'd be really suspicious of someone that is running a not so well known business and is claiming to be a multimillionaire at a teenage age or early 20s.
Yeah. And I guess leading on to this, what I've seen, how do I say this? So how I know all this, besides the fact that I know some of them. So one of my clients, he's my normal bodybuilding client, by the way. I don't do anything else outside of biz, but just he's one of my bodybuilding clients. So he runs an ad agency. So no matter what your job is, you pay him to optimize ads on Meta, so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Like he teaches you how to do that, and he does a really good job. That's how we became so wealthy, right? So what he'll do, he'll tell these people like, yo, like you're trying to sell this course of how you're going to be a multimillionaire if you join my real estate program. Where are your credentials? You don't have any because you're 21. So he'll tell them, go rent a Urus, a Lamborghini Urus SUV, a Lamb truck in Miami or San Diego or somewhere, LA. Go with some of your buddies. You guys could share the car. You guys all shoot content on your phones. You guys could have different accounts. You go rent a penthouse in Miami, San Diego, wherever it is, shoot a bunch of content there, pretty much shoot a whole week's worth of content, and that's going to last you for many months. So it could look like you're very successful. And sometimes I've had people DM me and say, "Hey, Kodi, can I borrow your Lamborghini for a day? I want to shoot some content with it." And I was like, "For what?" They're like, "Oh, I want to shoot some advertisements." I'm like, "So you're going to advertise a product with my car when it's not even your car?" And it just makes me think about how almost everything I see on social media is fake. So that's usually it. If they're trying to promise you this really rich lifestyle, cars, clothes, women, jewelry, whatever it is, what exactly does that have to do with them selling you a course on how to be a bodybuilding coach? What is the correlation to it? And I guess we could go into Alan, how, like, what are the type of people that fall for this, I guess, or wherever you want to dive into it from here.
And let me circle back on that, because that is an
Sure, sure.
excellent point. There's a great point, Kodi,
Yeah, yeah, of
and that's where you need to approach things. Like we've discussed before, my
course.
background is in human resources, and I do I've overseen staffing departments, and I've done a lot of interviews from different levels. Now, this far in my career, I do a lot of director, VP, C-level executive interviews, and not once have I interviewed a CTO, a CFO, um, and been like, "Hey, what kind of car do you drive? Can I see your social media? How big is your mansion?" Uh,
Yep.
that's not what you look for in an interview. When you're doing a legitimate interview for a business, and we're trying to hire someone that's going to run our technical department, our sales department, that's not what you look for. You look at their profiles, right? Like, send me the link to your LinkedIn. Send me your resume. What companies have you worked for? What was your position in those companies? What did you accomplish in those companies? What school did you go to? What are your degrees in? Not once do we check for their flexing, right? What kind of watch are you wearing? How much jewelry do you have? Well, let me take a look at your bank account, because those things, they don't mean anything. Like, in the real business world, that's not something that you would ask someone in an interview. You would
Nope.
look at their legitimate background, and that's how you would hire someone. And that's really the way you should go around when you're, in your personal life, when you're considering business, is you have to operate like a legitimate business. And if their position of expertise comes strictly from social media flexing, and that is it, that's a red flag. Because if you're a real professional, you have a real background, right? If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see the companies I've worked for. You'll see the positions I've held. You'll see my masters, my bachelors. You'll see all that. There's nothing on. Uh, I don't need to post on my Instagram what kind of car I drive, and my house, and things like that, because that's not going to help me get a VP of human resources position or chief of staff, anything like that. So I don't know why people think that that is an example of someone being a successful business person.
So you know what I don't get, and I tell clients this too. So how my company works, I'm a personal trainer, online coach. So people reach out to me, we interview each other, get a feel for each other, and then if we're both happy, we move forward, right? I never pressure them. So what I want to get into, Alan, and how I think some of these kids or people become vulnerable to it, is that they feel pressured to do it. They'll be like, you know what, you have to do this. I only have one spot left. Pay me the $10,000, and like otherwise, you might not get no chance going to $15,000 the next day. And that's just never something I've ever done. And when I'm connecting to this, pretty much what you were finishing up on, and what I want to connect to me is like, I'll interview these people, and like I'm trying to talk about my credentials. I have a master's degree. I actually hit my 1,800 client transformation today. So shout out to Team Dial, but 1,800 plus transformations. And I had a client be like, I'm only working with you because you have a Lambo. There's no way you can afford a Lambo if you are a bad coach. And I was like, I mean, in theory, I get what you're saying, but that's not why I want you to hire me because I have a supercar. I want you to hire me because you saw my 1,800 transformations and you're like, holy crap, Kodi knows what he's doing. He's like, yeah, but you still have the car. So, Alan, what do you think is going to be the psychology? What's going on in these people's heads when they're the ones who are falling for the course that's like, okay, buy my $1,000 course, buy my $10,000 course. What exactly do you think they're going to get out of it? What is their mindset going into this? Is it like a get rich quick kind of thing? Is it that they're vulnerable? Is it that they just are gullible? What do you think that issue is exactly? What are they going through, if you had to guess?
Honestly, I don't. I wouldn't say they're gullible. I would say that these people prey on people that are struggling, that are
Mhm.
susceptible, that are desperate, right? In Unfortunately, in today's economy, we're not doing so well. Our economy is not doing great. So there's a lot of people struggling right now. There's a lot of people desperate and living paycheck to paycheck, and that feeds perfectly into what these scammers need, right?
Yep.
It's painful to live in the present when the present is financially unstable, and when the more desperate you are, the easier it becomes for you to fall for a promise of a quick escape, right? When you're not doing well financially, you're, especially as a man, you, because so much of our society has told us that so much of our worth as men is dependent on us being able to provide financially,
Yep.
right? If you're single and you're not financially stable, uh, you're not worth anything, right? Matter of fact, nowadays, if you're single and you're not, and I'm not saying this is, you know, the image that people are trying to point men out there is that if you're not making six figure as a man, like you're not a real man,
Yep.
right? Which is totally not true. People that say things like that do not understand what is the average income in the U.S. That is a very ridiculous statement to make. And if you're a family man and you're married and you have kids and you're not providing financially, that can be devastating to you emotionally and mentally. And the constant stress of bills, debt, it drains you emotionally, mentally. And when someone comes to you with one of these schemes, it feels like they're giving you a lifeline, right? Like they're
Yep.
giving you a way out. And the more crushed you are under the stress of these things, you start thinking anything is better than what I'm going through right now, because you're trapped in the situation you're in. And at this point, if you were doing good in life, right? Like if you were financially stable, I'm not saying rich, but just financially stable, life is good, you're not struggling, and someone came to you with one of these offers, you're less likely to take it because you'd be at a place where you could sit back, think about it, and be like, I don't I don't need this. I want this, but I don't need this. I don't think this is a viable option. But when you're desperate, you're ready to gamble. You're like, I
Yep.
need to get out of this situation I'm in. And if that means I have to gamble money that I don't have to get out of my current struggle, um, then I'm ready to get out of it. And that's what they do. They sell you hope. They sell you a way out. And for someone that is in a bad mental space, that they're depressed and just giving up, that little bit of hope is what they prey on.
So I wanted to say something too, and this is he's very popular in San Diego. Don't want to give too many details, but if you're from here, you know right away who I'm referring to. There's only one course seller everybody knows, and I had somebody that I know him from social media. I don't know him, no, but I know him from social media. He bought this $10,000 course, and then he was just roasting the guy online how crappy the course was. So I asked him because I know the guy. I know the guy who purchased the course, and I was like, he's 22, I believe, around college age. I was like, why did you buy this course when you said that you have no money? And he said that, like, well, I met this girl online. She DM'd me. She was flirting with me, blah, blah, blah. And then she told me how she had this one opportunity that's really good. She knows like one of her homeboys who could put him on to like selling high ticket items and how he could sell his product. Now he does like AI. That's like his kind of like side hustle. He does some AI work. And she's like, oh, I could introduce this guy. He's a high ticket seller. I could teach you how to do that too. I just need you to pay the $10,000 fee and you're in. And he's like, but I don't have that. And this is where it gets insane, by the way. This is a very insane story. I'll make it try as quick as possible. But they told him to go get an American Express card like ASAP. Like they had some sort of connect to get him an American Express card ASAP. The next day, they had him put $10,000 in the Amex card. And then he started freaking out because, first off, he paid it. And he's trying to call Amex to like get this money back. And like, there's nothing he can do. They pretty much finessed him, for lack of better words. Now, it is still his fault for trying to get rich quick. You cannot not blame him, but at the same time, he fell for a pretty girl. He fell for their sales pitch, and he felt that they were going to make him super rich because he was broke. He was trying to make some money as a college kid, and that was the end of the story. He didn't get his money back, by the way, either. So that was just like a real world example, just someone who was going through it. It's just they felt that they had nowhere else to make money, so they wanted to do something quick, and it backfired, unfortunately.
And that's honestly the saddest part of all this is that the majority of the time they're preying on people that are in desperate situations that don't have the money to spend on this course, and then they're putting them in even worse situations, right? It's not like they're targeting wealthy people that have the money to spend.
Yep.
For the most part, they're targeting the people in need, the desperate people that don't have the money to be wasting on this,
Yeah.
and they have zero conscience. They don't feel any remorse about this. And once again, like, this comes down to a person that's wealthy, a person that's doing well with money, is they're less in need of things like this. But the people, the target, I would say that, not consumer, right? The target prey, because I do think this is predatory type of action. The target prey is falling for the illusion of a simple solution and the secret mentality. And what I mean by that is, you and I have both been blessed to be able to, over years of hard work and dedication, be able to build a sustainable life. We are doing well for ourselves financially, but as you know, doing that wasn't overnight. It wasn't anything like what the social media makes it seem like.
Nope.
The real path to wealth is through budgeting, investing, and skill building. And honestly, that is complex, it's boring, and it's slow. You and I did not build the financial wealth that we have in a year or two or three. It took a lot of years. It took investing. It took getting in contact with the right people to be able to manage things and be able to increase our net worth. And these people are reaching out to you with get rich quick schemes, and they sell you a simple solution, right? And it's a step by step system that anyone can follow. And it's
Yep.
really, financial independence is really not that simple. You need to have professionals helping you out for the most part, to be able to get to the right place financially. Also, the second part that I mentioned is the secret mentality, right? Another thing that they tap into is they don't want you to know this, right? Scammers will always position themselves as knowing a secret that the elites and the millionaires and billionaires don't want you to know. But if you buy their course, you're going to get insider information, and you're going to have a sense of control, and you're going to be superior to people that aren't buying their course, because you're going to be in the know of this secret that's going to make you rich.
Yeah. So, I want to lead into one thing too. So, again, Alan's in a different world than I am, being that I'm in the fitness world, and the hottest topic in the industry right now is the coaches, coaching coaches, coaching coaches. So, the specific example I want to give. So, to give you guys a reference, like I said, this is my 10th year of coaching, 1,800 plus transformations. And I keep seeing a lot of, I guess you can call them high ticket sellers, these people that are selling courses, but the course is not even specific to anything. So, like, I've seen the Amazon courses, I've seen the different types of courses for like real estate, but right now they're going to teach you how to be, let's say, a bodybuilding coach, like my job. I try to tell people that it took a lot of skill, it took a lot of time. I didn't just build this overnight. And they promise that they're going to turn them into this top tier bodybuilding coach. And I have one particular client he's one of my bodybuilding clients. He took this course in order to be a bodybuilding coach because I do not offer that service. And all the course was post on Instagram 3 times a week, post a bunch of random clickbait content. And then I also want you to force the individual to buy your course really quickly. So pretty much how they got finessed by trying to force the person to buy a course, they're trying to teach other people how to do that too. Charge a $3,000 to $5,000 ticket and go from there. And it's very unfortunate. So it's not even like a secret tool of like what Alan said. There's nothing secret at all. The secret is you finesse the person next that you just got finessed, and then you continue going down the line. And it's incredibly sad, truthfully.
That's called a pyramid scheme, Cody.
Yes.
And that's been around for pyramid schemes, and Ponzi schemes have been around for ages, and they just keep getting recycled and recycled.
Yep.
Uh, Honestly, you'd think by now, as people, we'd be more savvy about this, but people keep falling for it. Um, you know, uh, Not to deviate too far from the topic, but
Of course.
um, it's and this is a podcast for men, so I'm going to be directing this towards men. They really feed a lot into um, men that are vulnerable, and to their ego,
Yep.
right? A big thing that I've seen a lot of these scammers that they say is, be your own boss, escape the 9 to 5,
Yep.
right? And this taps directly into, as a man, you have this masculinity, right, that we have as men, and this idea of freedom, control, and independence, right? We all want to be free. We all want to feel in control of our lives. And, it's depending on the job that you have, that can be difficult. Most people hate their 9 to 5, right? Most people don't like their boss or coworkers or whatever it is. And what they tell you, like, right, you're going to be your own boss and you're going to be free. It feeds into this sense of identity, of success, and being respected, and being uh a business owner, right? Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people want to say, like, I'm a business owner. And
Yep.
what does that really mean, right? Like, a lot of times it means absolutely nothing. And they reach out to you as a man. They target you through flattery. They craft the message to make you feel seen. A lot of these people, like I said, they're working 9 to 5s. They're not happy. They don't feel seen by their colleagues. They don't feel seen by their bosses. They don't feel seen by their spouses. And so they feed into that part of you. They tell you you're smarter than your job. You're meant for more. And it's emotional validation. And emotional validation is a very powerful sales tool.
Yeah. So I want to add to a couple things. And again, a lot of the examples I'm giving are things I've seen in real life because, again, when I built a following, these people reach out to me because either they're trying to sell me something or because I have a supercar, they have a supercar. Now, first off, all of them are leased. I can almost confirm that 70% of most of the people I know, their cars are leased. It's not theirs. So, but their sales tactic, and again, I'm kind of reiterating what Alan said, they do really go for the do you want to escape the 9 to 5? And again, if you guys don't know how ads work, you can target who your ad demographic is. So let's say I want to run an ad saying, are you unhappy with your 9 to 5? Are you looking to have an extra $5,000 passive income? I could put, I want to have male demographic, USA only, 30 to 45 years old, hypothetically, right? I can do that. So they'll start shuttling these ads to people like that, maybe the average dad, grandfather, whoever it may be, who may be working a 9 to 5 and like, man, I really need a couple extra grand to get by. How could I do it? Oh, well, this guy right here says that he has a Lamborghini and that he could help me be my own boss too. He's going to teach me how to open my own LLC. He's going to teach me how to market myself. All I got to do is pay him $10,000. I think that's worth it. That could be my future. So they book a call. They pressure them into feeling like they have to make this purchase and tell them that pretty much if they can't spoil their wife, their girlfriend, their children, like they failed as a man, which obviously we know that's not true. Life is more complex than that. But that's the type of sales tactic I've seen. And the only reason I know this is because this is maybe about a year ago. This guy just kept pestering me. He's like, "Oh, you make good money, Kodi? I can make you more." I was like, "All right, bro, I'll sit down for your 15-minute call. Tell me everything you have to do." He's like, "Okay, we're gonna do this, this, this." I was like, "I do all that." So, okay, we need to run ads here. And I was like, I can't fit any more clients. I can't run any more ads. He's like, "Oh, well, what you don't have, Kodi, is a high ticket item. I mean, like a $10,000 package, and you just like make them feel like it's special. You sell it." And I was like, "That's not my personality." And the guy hung up on me. But the main point was like, he's trying to preach me I'm going to make 50, 100K a month. It's like, bro, I already do really well. All your tactics don't work. Maybe someone who's not familiar with this world, maybe someone who's, I hate using the word gullible, but amen, gullible in this world because they want to make money quick and they have no money, they're going to fall for it. But that's my tangent. That's all I wanted to say. It's just these things are interactions I've had in real life and I've seen people do, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly unfortunate that people fall for this, and also how little repercussions there are for running these type of schemes. Um, Once again, they feed a lot into the male ego, a lot of fallacy. They use social proof, and if I can do it, you can do it too. Type
Yep.
type of situation, right? They use a lot of manufactured testimonials. So
Yep.
you'll see these videos where they have regular people um, who achieved this level of success through their business or their company or their course. And what people often don't realize is that these people that are appearing on this video saying how now they make 7, 8, 9 figures, they're paid actors more
Yep.
often than not. They're paid actors. But all these people that you're seeing on video saying how much money they made since they joined this course creates a powerful evidence-based illusion that this is easily achievable, right? Where if we're being completely honest, becoming extremely successful is not easily achievable.
Nope.
It's really not. It requires a lot of hard work. It's complicated. It's not easy. And then they, the one thing that our generation and the generation after us really suffers from, and it really feeds into it too, is the fear of missing out, right? And they feed into this by creating artificial scarcity. And I know almost all of you have seen this artificial scarcity before. And if you see it, you should really start seeing it as a red flag. When you see things like this offer closes in 24 hours, right?
Yep.
They do that to trigger a panic response in you. When they're like, "Oh, we only have 10 spots left." No, they don't. No, they don't. They have a lot of spots left. They're going to take every single person that's willing to pay. But
Yep.
that triggers something in you, that fear of missing out. Like, man, they only have 10 spots left. I don't want to lose on this opportunity. I could be making this money, type of thing. So they know what they're doing. This is all psychological tricks that they're playing on you. And they want to tell you you're not just buying a course, right? You're buying your last chance at a ticket to a better life.
So I want to give two things. So one, I have a story for you, but the finishing up the last sentence you just said. So they're buying a ticket to a better life. They're buying a ticket to success, whatever. I even have one guy. I don't want to say who it is, but he's not crazy pop, but he sells a course. What he says is like, "Oh yeah, bro. Like when you buy my $12,000 to $15,000 course, you're one of us now. Like you're on our team. You're my boy now. Like I'm gonna put you on." And all he does is put you in a random group chat and you'll never hear from him again. You don't get his personal number, you don't get a phone call with him, it's nothing. So again, that's they felt like they were going to miss out on an opportunity to potentially have more connections down the line, and like it didn't exist. It was not real at all. So that's my first part. Second part, and I've told you this off camera before, Alan, this story just like it still bothers me to this day. But usually when I get clients, they'll email me. I'll interview them, make sure we're on the same page. I never rush them, make sure that we both want to work with each other. And there was this one individual, and I asked him, why did he choose me? Because he's like, he was just so ready to go. And I was like, oh, he must have saw like one of my transformations, or maybe he knows somebody on my team, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh no, you have a Lamborghini. It's like, well, yeah, I do. It's on my car page. I don't post on my main page, but like I have one. Yeah. He's like, well, that's why I want to work with you. It's like, but I don't get it. Like, what is the rationale? It's like, well, clearly you have to be a good coach if you have a Lamborghini. I was like, what if I came from a rich family? What if like I was a scammer? Like that doesn't make me a good coach. Neither one of those are true. But like, how would you know? And he's like, why are you asking me so many questions? Why do you care? Like, I just thought it was a weird reason to choose me as a bodybuilding coach when you said the only reason you want me is not my master's degree, not my transformation, to have a supercar. So I guess it just kind of ties into like the social media. He didn't even need the testimonials. He just saw like the success and he thought that'd get passed down to him, even though I'm not mentoring him to be a coach, which is where I got confused. Do you have any insight on that, Alan, just from your point of view? Like, why did he want to work with me when he's not been working with me to be in the job that I'm doing?
Yeah, so there's different things that in psychology we talk about that show you're competent at what you do, right?
Yep.
One of those things is social proof, and I that relates not just to business. That social proof relates to relationships, to dating, and in this aspect, the social proof is the Lambo, right? Another aspect that people use, and I won't get too much into this topic, but it's
Of course.
appeal to authority.
Mm.
Um, so, for example, the Lambo, social proof. Appeal to authority is, for example, if I had a PhD, which I do not have, and if I just called myself Dr. Alonso, and in every video, I started my video by letting you know that I had a PhD in behavioral psychology, and call me doctor every single video, I'm appealing to authority, right? I'm just saying I what I'm doing, I know what I'm saying, I'm not wrong. I know more than you because of my education, and so that's another aspect that people use. So in this case, it's social proof.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just curious because, like, obviously, I'm biased. Like, I know what I saw and I know how I felt about it. And I'm not gonna say it bothered me that severely, but I was like, "Damn, bro, he signed up with me to to be his coach because I had a car." It just wasn't clicking. But again, he was younger. I think he was about 19, 20. So I understand your mentality is a little bit different as a teenager versus someone who's maybe late 30s. But either way, that's all I want to cover that topic. But do you want to start going into, I guess you could just say, like, what are some red flags or just obvious signs that this person may be a scammer? You might need to do a little bit more research. So I have a couple of things I want to touch on, but if you want to start it off, I'll happily, feed off of you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll red flag number one, I would say, is they sell a dream, not a process.
Yep.
They focus exclusively on the lifestyle. So something we've touched on a lot in this episode is the Lambos, the private jets, the freedom. So instead of selling you actual work, skills, and value creation that's required to become successful, they're selling you a dream. And their message is you can have all this easily instead of here's a difficult journey to get there. Because most people don't want to do the hard work that requires to be successful. And if I told you, hey, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to go to school for 4 years, get a bachelor's, and then go to school for another 2 3 years and get a master's, then start from the bottom of a company, work your way up, and then in 6 7 8 years you'll be making good money, and if you save by year 10 you'll be a multimillionaire. A lot less people are going to buy into that than if I tell you, check out all the nice things that I have. I can make you rich in 3 months.
Yeah, no, and I want to give a couple real world examples too, of just things that I've seen. So, and this is, I guess, it's not really relevant to what Alan's saying, but like this is really how I've seen people get caught up. So, everything he said, yes, but leading into more like really quick option to look at, go straight to Reddit, go to TikTok, go to Reddit, go to wherever, and like just Google their name. Like I can't say the person's name, but the person I was saying that got ripped off for the $10,000 out here, you type in that guy's name into Reddit, guess what you see? I got scammed at $10,000. I got scammed at $5,000. I joined this guy's course. Or, you type in, I guess you could say course sellers on TikTok. Who are the best ones? Whatever it is. And like you'll see, I got scammed. I got scammed. I got scammed. So that's pretty much all it is. Like they could have all the proof they want. They could say whatever they want to, but the second you type the name into Google, you see their reviews on Yelp. You see the reviews on Reddit. You see the reviews here. Like you can see pretty quickly whatever all their paid actors, all their paid ads, it don't mean nothing when the real world people are speaking. So that's all I wanted to say. Something you could do very quickly to read about that person.
And digging into that or going further into that, another red flag that I'd like to point out is there's no tangible proof of their system working. They can't point to legitimate, verifiable business that they've built outside of selling this secret to you, and their proof is all, once again, rented cars, rented mansions for
Yep.
photo shoots, or paid actor testimonials. Now, working in the business that I work, I often get reached out a lot by a lot of different companies that are selling products or selling services. Whether as being a head of HR, they'll be like, "Hey, I have this service to sell to you, where we recruit people for you, or we offer this service where your people can do volunteering and we'll help you with this, or we have a mentorship program, we'll set up your employees to develop." I get my emails get blown up all the time by different companies trying to sell me products or services. And in order for me to truly even take the time to be like, okay, I'll give you a meeting, let's set up a Zoom call or anything like that, I do a lot of my due diligence, right? I go in there, I look up the company, I try to find them, like make sure how long have they been in business? Do they have testimonials from other legitimate companies, right? Not from like Joe Schmo or something like that. I look them up. What is their rating in the Better Business Bureau, right? It's always on me to do the due diligence before I connect with these companies, because I could be getting my company scammed for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, if I decide to go with one of these companies and buy their services or whatever it is that they're trying to sell us. And that is why it's so important that whatever you decide to go with, that you're making sure that they have a tangible proof of whatever service that it is that they're trying to sell you.
I had one follow up, Alan. I want to get your opinion on this. So I know how I feel about it, but is it called hard closing? Is that what that's called when like they're trying to pretty much force you to purchase the product very quick? Is that the proper term?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. So my question for you is, and again, this is what I've seen in especially the people coaching bodybuilding coaches or coaching coaches, is that so we have the top dog. Let's say it's me. I have the owner up here. I'm the owner over here. They'll have people under them who are pretty much the ones who are doing the phone calls, the ones who are going to be doing the closing, right? And so they'll pretty much say the course is $10,000 and be like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about it. I need a day to think it. And they're like, actually, hold on. They'll have somebody else pop on the phone. We'll give it to you for $6,500 if you pay right now. You have 5 minutes to decide. You don't do it, then it's done. The offer go back to $10,000 tomorrow. So I guess just my question is, if you feel like someone is doing that to you, is that automatically a red flag from the jump that that's fake? Because if you were a true business owner doing business with another business owner, potential business partner, you would never force their hand like that, correct? Is that fair to say?
To a certain extent, yes. I mean, there is legitimate deals that certain companies offer for closing on a certain timeline.
Yep.
However, for the most part, those timelines are very understandable, especially when you're going to be spending a lot of money. The more money you're spending, usually the bigger the timeline it is,
Makes
right?
sense.
If you feel that someone is rushing you to close the deal, you should step back and really think about it, because in a legitimate deal, they're going to give you enough time to do your due diligence, right? I mean, tech sales people are some of the best salespeople I've ever met in my life, and they make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. I know people in tech sales that make easily over 500K, if and in the millions. And the best ones that I know don't use that type of strategy, because they're selling a legitimate product that really works and that they truly believe is going to provide value for their client. And when you have that, when you have a product that is truly going to uh, change things for the better for that client, or it's going to improve things, and they're going to get a real value of it, you don't need to rush to sell as much. And you'll even let them, do their due diligence, because that they're going to benefit from this product. So you're not that desperate. Also, you're able to have referrals from different companies. I'll give you an example. When I worked in ad tech, one of our we had we were reaching out to a dating company. We wanted to run ads on their for them, and we were already doing business with Bumble. So we were able to get reps from Bumble to contact them directly and be like, "Hey, we're Bumble. We use them for our ads. They're a great company. This is what they've done for us. This is the numbers, blah blah blah, and so on." And that goes a long way. When you have a legitimate product and it's doing very well, you have to use less of those sales tactics than you have to use when you're not selling exactly the greatest product out there.
No, makes complete sense.
And speaking of sales strategy, another red flag is these people using their solution is often vague or overpriced, right? They'll be using buzzwords or vague promises, like we said, unlock the algorithm or escape the matrix, but they
Yeah.
never really get
Escape
into
the matrix for sure.
they never really get into the nitty gritty about things, right? They don't discuss actionable details. It's never like, hey, I'm gonna break this down for you and explain this in detail, how this works. It's always super vague. Just trust me, bro. Right. Also, the price is often extremely high for a digital product, absurdly high for a digital product, which creates a false sense of value. And they also use the sunk cost fallacy to hook you on it. Right. If something just seems too overpriced for a digital product, it probably is. And they're using that to try to sell you. And you'll see a lot of these gurus will say that. They'll openly admit to that. They'll say, like, hey, if your product is too cheap, people are not going to buy it because they're going to be like, this is garbage. So what they do is hike up the price on a product so that you see the price and you're like, wow, well, this product's this service is $4,000 or $5,000. This course must be real because they're willing to sell it for that much money. And it's like, they got you now.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I mean, I've seen it time and time again because I mean, I guess you have to think about it like this. Let's just say it was supposed to be this course that's going to go make you $50,000 a month. And if this course happened to be like $199, would you be like, wow, man, like that sounds like that's the secret that's going to change my life forever? Or would you choose the one that cost, I'd say as of right now, I usually see something costing about 7,500, so 7,500 to 10,000. That's not uncommon. Most courses they just make it 10,000 flat, and that's how they do it. So you see $10,000, you're like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. There's no way they would ever rip me off and give me this little value because they charge $10,000. Nope. That's not how it works. So everything you said, Alan, just want to connect, and that is real life implications. One thing I want to add on to too about them being vague, and I've seen this before, and sometimes like they're open about it, they're like, oh, I'll have an interview call with you, and like I'll have you break down what it is you want me to help you with in your business, whether it's running ads, whether it's helping you learn how to do high ticket sales, whatever it may be. And then they're like, okay, well, cool. I have all your information. All right, well, pay me $10,000 and I'll let you know what we're going to do to fix it. So like they spent the last 30 minutes of you rambling to them, kind of being vulnerable about what your business is struggling on, what can they do to make it better. And they're like, all right, cool. Well, I asked my associate, he gave me the green light and said that you're making 12K a month. I'd be shocked if we didn't make 50 running ads. And like, they can't promise it. There's no contract. There's no guarantee. It's just them saying verbally, we probably could help you. And that's as far as it goes. So it's unfortunate, but that's all I got about that topic.
Yeah, and another red flag is if you're going to spend money on a service or a course, um, please talk to them and ask them questions about it. A real business is open to questions. These scams, they attack you or dismiss what you have to say if you start asking them legitimate questions, right? If you start asking them, what's your business model? Can I see some case studies? Uh, they can't provide any of that, right? When I have business meetings with legitimate companies and I want to see their services, I ask them for those things. I ask them for case studies. I ask them for to explain their business model to me, or to show me, put me in contact with some of their referrals, and so I can legitimately see the work that they've done and how it operates. With these businesses, when you ask them those type of things, they get mad and they hit you with things like, you have a poverty mindset, or you're just not
Yeah.
ready for this level. Stop overthinking it and just trust the process. So they start just hitting you with these thought terminating cliches that are just meant to silence your doubt, but they never actually answer your questions or concerns.
So I have one, and this is pretty much the last topic I think I have relevant to this, or last kind of like rebuttal to it. So again, talk about the guy that's out here. Again, we have two people. One of them is super famous online, maybe has a Bugatti, everybody knows him, right? He's out here. And then we have one other guy, and they're both scamming everybody out here. But the main thing I've seen them do, which is a very grimy tactic, and I'll ask your opinion on this, but the one where it's like, and we all know the ones where it's like, oh, you could quit your 9 to 5. Okay, I get that. I understand. They preach that. Now, this one, why I consider it grimy is that they're saying like, I bet your wife or girlfriend is cheating on you because you can't give them the life that they want. You're not buying them the purses, the jewelry, the red bottom shoes. You don't drive a nice car. And like, that's their sales tactic. And I see these ads, I'm like, who's going to fall for this? And then I think about how I'm sure there are guys out there that maybe they are scared their wife is going to leave them for a more wealthy guy, especially living in San Diego here. A lot of men have money. A lot of people have a lot of money. So I'm sure it's in the back of their head, but like they really tack their, I guess you could just say insecurities, and it sucks. Like that's that's just the ads I've been seeing lately. Is like, oh, you didn't buy your girlfriend the new Birkin bag this month, bro. I bet there's somebody out there that's going to do it. I bet he has his own business. I bet he has a Rolls Royce, and it's crazy, man. That's the most recent example I've been seeing the past year out here.
I'll be honest with you, Cody. I have never seen these ads, but just hearing about it, I find it truly infuriating.
Oh yeah,
Um, and this is once again why it's so important as men to have an internal locus of control. We as men cannot leave ourselves to be manipulated externally by these things. As men, we provide a lot more value to our society, to our families, and to our loved ones than just being a wallet. And I find it absolutely disgusting that these people would use those kind of tactics. But to any and all the men watching this, I want to tell you that you're truly worth more than that. And anyone that approaches you with a business model where their first line is to insult your manhood or to insult your worth and to say it's strictly connected to your income, you should just automatically shut it down right there. They're not worth your time. They're not worth your business, and they're just scummy people. Um, I mean, yeah, that is just truly, honestly,
it's
infuriating.
it's it's insane, right? Even saying it out loud, I'm like, how could someone? I've seen some scams. I've seen some scam, but just that one, man. And I know you didn't touch on it too much, but like, that at the end of the day, they're pretty much saying that your wife or girlfriend's a gold digger and that you have nothing else to offer her but money. It's like, that's your wife. That's the mother of your children. And to say that she's going to leave you because some other guy pulls them in a Lambo, that's a very interesting first sentence to say to somebody. And the fact that people fall for it is even worse. But that's all I got. It's all my stories.
Well, I think that speaks more to their character than yours, right? If that's truly how they approach you as a person, they're not worth your time because they've already let you know how little they think of you. Um, but to touch on two more red flags while still trying to keep my cool here, um, is number one. Sorry, the next red flag is the success of their students is unverifiable. So the student success stories are just usually first name only text on a screen or edited videos, and you'll see it, right. You'll go to their website and it's like, Steven, I made a lot of money on this, or they changed my life. Or you see a video and it's like one guy in like a penthouse looking out to the Miami ocean, the Miami beach, and they're like, yeah, this totally changed my life forever, right? But you can't verify any of it. You can't find any of these successful students on any professional platforms. You try to find them, and they're ghosts. And like I said, with a legitimate uh, business, you're able to find verifiable success stories. Going back to the example, like I said, when we reached out to a dating platform, we had business with Bumble actually, and Tinder as well. So we were able to provide them when we were doing business with other companies, like let's say makeup companies. We had Olay was one of our clients, so we were able to connect uh, our prospective clients with legitimate clients that were using our services. And with these scammers, you're never able to connect with any of their successful students. And the next red flag is, and you touched a little bit on this earlier, is their entire business is about selling how to make money,
Yep.
right? And this is the biggest red flag of all of them, is their primary and often their only product is teaching others how to make money. They aren't, they're not actually making anything. They're not building software. They're not selling a physical product or providing a real service to the market. You are the market, you the customer. So if a company's or this person's whole way of making money is selling a course, then they're not a legitimate business person, right? Because legitimate business provides a actual real service to the market. Like let's say you run a car wash, right? So your service is you bring people in, you wash their cars, right? Or you're selling a physical product. So you sell this microphone, right? This is a legitimate product. Create this microphone, I sell it. But if the only thing I'm selling is courses, you're my market.
Yep.
You're my market. And literally, I just make my money off of selling courses. I am not a legitimate business person.
So I want to give a couple examples. So I want to give examples to both final scams Alan was talking about. So the first one, again, I'm connecting to my world because that's what I specialize in. But how the course selling works in the bodybuilding world, which has been the hottest topic in the entire fitness industry over the past 12 to 16 months. So I'm a bodybuilding coach. I coach people on my team how to get in shape. I do not teach them how to make money. I do not teach them how to coach other people. That is not what they hire me for. Now, what these people found out was they can't do it like I can. They don't have all the competitors. They don't have all the clients. They're like, crap, I want to make a bunch of money, but I have no clients because I don't know how to coach people. What can I do? Okay, well, I'm gonna pay my buddies, or I'm gonna just ask my buddies to make videos saying I made this transformation because of him. He's now my mentor or my guru who's teaching me how to have my own bodybuilding team. And I see these people and I'm like, this guy wasn't a good bodybuilding coach. How is he selling a $7,000 course on how to become a bodybuilding coach when he himself was not a good bodybuilding coach? And I guess just the final takeaway from this is like, he was making no money as a bodybuilding coach. Now he's making tens of thousands of dollars a month as a coach, coaching bodybuilding coaches. That is the scam. Or they're using AI too. If you have to have a very good eye for it. They'll have AI transformations. You know, shout out to Goob. Goob always catches the coaches that do that, but it's real. You cannot trust anymore, man. It's very unfortunate. That's all I could say.
Yeah, and I mean, on a final point, I want to touch on my end is how do you know that you've already fallen for a scam, right? We gave red flags for how to not fall for a scam, but let's say you're already in a situation and you're not sure is this a scam or is this legitimate? Think about something I discussed earlier, which was the sunk cost fallacy, and another thing is the cult of hustle, right? If you're already in a scam, one, they're going to move the goalpost on you, right? When the scheme or this course isn't working for you, and 99% of the time it's not going to work, then the coach, the guru, whatever, is going to tell you that you're just not trying hard enough, right? Or maybe you need to buy their new advanced course that's even better than the course you already bought, and you need to reinvest, right? And that also, is a psychological tactic because you're already invested money and your ego into this. So now you decide to double down to justify your initial decision, right? Another thing that they're going to do is glorify suffering. And this is feeds back into something we talked about in episode one is the hustle culture that makes struggling for this scheme feel like a virtue, right? Like you need to suffer to doing this to be successful. And if it's not working, you're just not grinding hard enough. And it's not the system that's broken. It's not that you bought a scam product or a scam service. It's that you're the problem.
Yeah, so I want to finish up on one question slash topic. So everything you just said, one thing we didn't touch on at all this podcast, I wanted to touch on at least one time. Speaking of ripping people off or like challenging people's manhood, have you seen those 1 day classes out into the week long classes? It's like $30,000, and then you go outside and they're like they pretty much just it's pretty much like military camp. I wasn't in the military, so I can't vouch for what it's like. Maybe you can, but they pretty much just yell at them, beat them, make them cry, teach them how to be real men, have them scream their insecurities, and then yell, I'm a real man at the end of the thing. And it's like, holy crap. I just want to touch on that really briefly. Speaking of, because I mean, they sell courses too, but then they sell the in person experience too. Do you feel like that is still a scam? Or do you feel like since they're getting the experience that they requested, that is technically not a scam? Does that make sense?
I wouldn't. That's a solid point you make there. Um, I wouldn't call it a scam because you are getting a real service. They promise you something, and you're getting what they promised you. Now, do I think what they promise you is garbage? Yes. Would I ever pay a single penny for that? Absolutely not. But I wouldn't call it a scam because they're pretty upfront about what you're going to get. Credit
True.
to them. They have their website. They have real testimonials from real people. They have videos of what they're going to do to you. You can go on YouTube and you can see what they're going to do to you.
Yep.
And so it's a legitimate business. They provide a real service. It's a verifiable service. Um, Now, do I think it's a good service? Absolutely not. I mean, I think if you want to get yelled at and uh, cussed out and said very derogatory things towards you, go join the military and they'll pay you instead
Yep.
of you having to pay. Go join the military. You can have all that, and you'll get paid for it instead of you having to pay 10, 12, $15,000 for that. So, I mean, I think once again, not a scam, but I once again, it's something that I think preys on weak masculinity. They prey on people, trying to tell them like, "Hey, this is going to make you feel like a real man." And does it? I maybe in the moment you feel like it, but I just don't see it having the necessary long term effects. Um, Especially for the amount of money that you're paying. Honestly, for that amount of money, I think you can pay 25% of what you're paying for that course and go see a therapist. Go work through your problems. Go work on your mental health, because these people are not financially struggling. If you can afford to pay $15,000 to go get yelled at for a weekend and get sprayed with a water hose and be forced to crawl around in the mud, uh, you're probably better
You're
off
probably
just.
doing probably doing all right. Probably doing all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So you're probably better off just going to see a therapist and working through some of your issues, or maybe a lot of these people are like, oh, I didn't feel like a man in my relationship, and after this, I feel like more of a man. It's like, maybe go see a marriage counselor. That would probably be money better spent, uh, than going through that.
And if you guys have no idea what we're talking about, I'm sure you could find it on YouTube. But specifically, if you guys watch King of the Hill with King of the Hill All Grown Up, they had a full blown episode about this. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So, when you make it on South Park, Family Guy, or King of the Hill, it's probably a real massive event or, something going on in real life. But that's all I had to say.
Yeah, and funny enough, they actually have a program too where you can go with your kid and go through the program with your kid, and they put
Hmm.
both of you through it.
Yep.
Um, Look, have your kid join the sport, and even better, have them join a combat sport. I promise you, they'll be much better off doing jujitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling. It builds character. It's hard. It's tough. It takes discipline, and they'll get something better out of it at the end, right? If your kid sticks enough to it, to let's say wrestling or something, they can get a college scholarship, right? So there's better things you can do with your time and your money than that course that I know that you're talking about.
Yep. No, that's pretty much all I had to say. That pretty much wraps it up from my point of view.
I mean, to wrap things on my end, all I really want to say to wrap things up is, the real path to financial health is like the real path to physical health. It's not sexy. It's built on a couple of fundamentals: consistency, which is saving and budgeting; compound growth, which is investing; and building real skills, education, career advancement. There's no shortcuts to financial health. There's only systems. And with that being said, remember, real strength isn't ego. It's awareness, discipline, and consistency. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and keep building your mentality.
And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment any topics you want to discuss, any guests you want us to collab with, and we can go from there.